So a couple weeks ago, I was visiting Pioneer Cemetery where I was asked to leave because I was not related to anyone there. And I was taking pictures of historically significant stones and Civil War veterans. I was asked to leave because the caretaker, who apparently is descendant of some of the people in that cemetery, felt that anyone who was doing any kind of genealogical research was trying to make money off of dead people. And she and the cemetery association that owned that particular cemetery wanted no part of that, no assistance. Okay, now I've been mulling that over, but I just attempted to visit another family cemetery with 18 listed interments in a rural part of St. Johns County here for a story video that I'm working on about a historical event that happened here in this county. It's a very small cemetery. I was not able to find it by GPS coordinates because it's listed as literally in the middle of the pine forest down a rutted, unpaved road. I thought I might have found the road, but you never know when you're driving in the country. You don't want to drive in someone else's driveway. Anyway, so near the road that I thought might have led to that place, I saw a woman pull up and getting groceries out of her hatchback. So I pulled in behind her, got out. Hi, how are you? My name is Joyce. I'm trying to find the Houston Cemetery. I wonder if you could tell me where it is. Well, she was immediately very reflexive, shall we say, and asked me what I wanted to know that for. And I said, well, I've been doing history research on some of the things that have happened in the county, and there's a lot of interesting history around this family, and I'm also a person who visits cemeteries on a regular basis, takes pictures of historically significant stones, cleans headstones, blah blah blah. She had the most distrustful look on her face. And she asked me if I was family, and I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. She said, well, then why do you want to go to someone else's family cemetery? I explained again, well, ma'am, I've been doing a lot of history on things that have happened in the county in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and I visit cemeteries. I told her I was just in the Orangedale Cemetery, which is a pioneer cemetery out here that I was able to get into today. You can't always get into that cemetery. It's often locked. Anyway, she said, well, if you're not family, you can't get in. And I said, oh, okay, there are cemeteries that are like that. I said, well, I understand. She said, but even if you try to get in, you can't because there's a gate. And I said, oh, is it the gated road, like the next road after your driveway? She said, yeah, but you can't get in there. And don't you dare walk back there. And I said, well, why is this such an issue to want to see an old cemetery? And she said, because that's my family. Okay. She said, if you had told me that you were family, I would take you back there myself. But there's no reason for people who aren't related to people in the cemetery to go to it. And I said, well, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. I really do spend a lot of time in cemeteries, and I do research on stones, and okay, I mean, if this is your family, then I respect that, and I'm sorry to hear that. And she got a smirk on her face, and she said, what are you here for, really? And I said, ma'am, I visit old cemeteries. I'm interested in old headstones. I'm interested in the art, the craftsmanship. I'm interested in the stories behind the people. I literally visit cemeteries almost every day in St. Augustine and clean old headstones. I really spend a lot of time in cemeteries. I'm fascinated by cemeteries. I love cemeteries. This is your family is very important to this region, and I wanted to visit the cemetery. And she just laughed, rolled her head back and laughed, and walked into her house. So for a minute there, I felt like I was in the movie Deliverance, right? Like, what time zone have I walked into? What dimension of alternate reality is this? But as I was driving down the beautiful country road coming back to get on the freeway where I am now, I started thinking about all the destruction that I've seen to cemeteries. And one of the reasons why I go to abandoned black cemeteries, even though I'm not black, is because they are so neglected and they are so disrespected and abandoned. Now, it's frustrating to me as a person who's interested in these things to find more and more of these private cemeteries that are on private property that you can't get on unless you ask permission. And even if you ask permission, oftentimes they just don't want to deal with you. But then I started thinking about, what if this is the way all this is going? What if this genealogy movement is doing more harm than good? I go to cemeteries with great respect, great regard for the people. I often pick up trash when I'm there. But there are people that just go to cemeteries because they want to see that someone that came up in their ancestry, and they just want to go and take a picture. And if this is your family cemetery, and you know the people that are buried there, and you get people asking to go and walk onto the cemetery just so you can take this picture, maybe that's seen as disrespectful. It certainly seems to have been disrespectful to the woman caretaker of the Woodland Cemetery in Port Orange. She was very adamant about that. She didn't want anyone making money off of genealogical websites by having photos of what she called the old timers. So I wonder if this woman has experienced this here. And I wonder if the other cemetery I recently tried to get to, which is now on private property, it's called Mount Pleasant Cemetery, or the White Family Cemetery. You can't get anywhere near it. It's in the middle of a forest on private property. You can't get anywhere near it. I wonder if that's what all these people have been going through, and they're tired of it. What if we don't need to be so greedy about our wanting to have a picture of a headstone of someone who showed up in our genealogy? What if we don't need that? And what if our wanting that is the problem? It's giving me pause for thought. She's protecting hallowed ground. Because she can. families of the people that are buried in the black cemeteries around me that I clean, they have no recourse. All they can do is go and clean off their family's grave or headstone and bring homage and gifts in the way they can, but they can't do anything about the way the cemetery is maintained. They can't keep people from coming there in the middle of the night and doing drug deals, which I've seen drug deals enacted in one of those cemeteries. Condom wrappers all over the place, breaking into old tombs to steal bones and look for jewelry. That happens. And those family members can't do anything about it, but this woman can. So maybe this is all moving in a different direction. Maybe these cities of the dead are not the way things are going. Maybe we're returning to a holiness like an Indian burial ground that was holy, that you didn't just go walking through. Right. Maybe.